So now that we are done with creating to-dos, updating, deleting, and um, yeah, and everything about it, we'll need to add some way to have users be able to do it. So that means we need to register, um, log in, and all of those things. So we will need to add some sort of security in this setup. So for that, we'll need to track all of those things. So um, add create user. Um, do this by uh, using the register function. So I'll also add mm, have the passwords encrypted, and so we'll also add a few more issues to track our work. Um, Add the ability to log in, um, ability to log in and log out. Um, this use session cookies and use JWT as the token for a session cookies. So we'll use that. Um, and then add ability to change password. Uh, Ability to change. Um, Add ability to update user and change password. Separate functionalities for update user and change password. So, given that, we'll have change password there. I'll just need to add something here. Um, must take in username, password, first name, and last name. There. Then we'll also add it here and add security to secure logout. Only log in users can log out. There. And lastly, only log in users can update a user, and then only the same user can update their own user and password. User info. Then lastly, we'll have another one, which is add security for create, update, and delete to dos. Add security for create, update, and delete can only can only update own to-dos, update and delete own to-dos. Okay, so given these, we'll start with the create user. Um, so I'll assign it to myself and then create a branch. So create branch. Okay, I'll go here, then click on Gitbot. Continue with GitHub. So given that, we'll first go to components. No, not components, but paths. And we'll add a folder for user. In this, just do this. And then we'll export fonts user. Now, for this one, we'll just use register so that it's more of an action rather than a model of the user. So we want to register a user. The summary would be register a new user. We'll use the operation ID. Let's say register user, just for the sake of making it easy. Body. Mm, what we can do is we'll remove this first for now, and then um, responses, um, 200 description, a user object, content would be actually yeah, we can have application JSON, which is of schema, let's say type object. So for now, we want to make it sort of reusable. So we will go for um, we'll want to create a schema. So we want to create a schema called, let's say, user object. So want to use this. Um, what is that? Schema. User object. Type object. And then properties would be username. Type string. first name. Oh, sorry, not not in this area. First name type string. Okay, I'm just going to copy paste this. Last name type string. Created date type number, and then updated date. Now we also want to have a new user object. This is for our request body, and that would doesn't need this, but it needs a password, which is of type string. So given that we have this, we want to add a request body, request bodies. Why do I need to do this? This is for the sake of so export const request bodies. So this is for request new user. Um, so for this sake, for this part, we'll have description. Let's say the request body for creating a new user. Content is application JSON. Schema will use the reference for um, components, schemas. What's the name again? Uh, New user object. There. Now we just add this in our import request bodies. There you go. And we'll also add responses. Index.js. Responses is export const responses. Successful user response. Let's add something like this. Description. A user a successful response to response to return a user object. Content would be application JSON, and the schema would be type, no, not type, but ref um, components schemas user object. And we just again import it responses here. Now what we will be able to do is just delete this and components responses, and we go here, then request body $ref components request bodies, and then from here we just do this. There you go. Now we add the user from user.index.js, and then we add it to our object. Now let's try to make it run. Let's see if there's okay. There is a problem. In the paths register post. Operation ID. Sorry, I forgot the ID part there. So it says here paths post schema. There's an additional property operation. So that's why I saw the operation. So you need to learn how to read the error message. Message must not have an additional property. So I made an error with just the operation instead of operation ID. So now that it's working, let's go to ports. Uh-huh. Um, make it public so that we can access it. And then /docs. And so there's the register user with like the request body and the response that is also now reusable. So given this, we'll create the uh, services for that, which is user, and then um, just create register user. So for that one, register user will import getDB again and save DB from utils oops db index.js. Before that, I'll also need to update our db.json to have user users. Sorry, okay, just the user. Then we'll need to also npm install bcrypt. So this is a way to this is a library that allows us to encrypt oops, there's a need to fix npm audit. Let's see what is that vulnerability. Okay, what's our fix for this? It's Fastify. So let's see, npm audit fix. There you go. That changes our um, items. So import, now we'll just go back, import from bcrypt. If you check the documentation in bcrypt, this is one of the functions, which is hash, which creates an encrypted version of your one-way encryption. So that means it cannot be decrypted, but you can still um, compare, which we will use later on for a login. So export const register user, which is a async, async, um, async function, body, request, const username, get the username, password, first name, last name is equals to body, const. Then we create the hashed password is equals to await password and salt rounds. So as you can see, the salt to be used in encryption, if specified as a number, then a salt will be generated with a specified number of rounds and used. What is the purpose of the salt? So password creation salt. What's the salt? So password salting is a technique to protect passwords stored in database by adding a string of 32 or more characters and then hashing them. So this allows us to sort of add a padding on the password so that it cannot be, or it's hard to reverse engineer the password after encryption. So now that we have hashed password, we just get the DB, await get DB for us. Then we create the um, hash password, first name, last name, create a date, which is the new date with using the Unix epoch time, new date, get time. So it's just the same. db.users username. So we use the username as the unique ID for this one, and await save db, and then we return the username and the user. Now you might ask, sir, um, are we just showing the hashed password when we return the user? The answer is no, because we are using the user object as the schema, and if we check the schema for the user object, um, we don't output the hashed password. So it is safe to just return the whole user because this one will be removed later on. So given that, we'll add this up, user from user, register users, and then just, well, let's say user functions, register user is equals to register users. So given that, we'll start again. Let's see. So hello. So let's say um, try it out. Yeah, and then let's say we have, well, let's say TJ Montserrat 1. Let's say password is strong, and then TJ Montserrat. Yeah, and then let's execute. And now, as you can see, there's no password or hashed password on our return, but we check our database, we have our hashed password here. So as you can see, it's already encrypted. We don't know how we can decrypt it. There might be a way, but um, it's going to be hard. So, how will we test this? Because if we test it right now, test it right now, oops, there's an error. But as you can see, the register user is um, we haven't tested the whole register user thing. So we'll run it again just to see if the error will um, sort of pass away. Yeah, but it will still say that our functions or the number of functions that were not tested is 0 from 6 to 28 of our services. So how do we do that? We just test user, just copy this whole create to do, then just add register user test.js. So we have copied this. Um, register a user should work. Should return the user that was created with a new user. Um, for this, so that we can always create a new user, because if we try the same user, it should return an error. So let's do that later, but for now, um, let's have um, npm chance, npm save dev, because this is going to be used only um, on testing. So we just want to have chance. So what is chance? Well, so chance JS is a way to create randomized things. So if you want to create, what's that? Name. So name. No, we need something else. Unique. Uh-huh. User. So I could just use email. There you go. So I could just use this as the username. So if we have that, we'll install it first, of course. This one. So import chance from chance. And then we'll have this const chance. Then because of that, there you go. We'll have um, new user. Oops, new user. Username is equals to this one. And then the first name, so we'll have a person. Person first, and last, oh, we do this. Last name is chance last, and then the password is, maybe we could find just a random string. Random string of 12. There you go. App inject new user for register, and then the username should be new user, um, first name be equal, as well as last name should be this, and then is the ID is there. So if we test it out, oops, something failed. What failed? Register user. Okay. What happened? Did we save? Oh, okay. Username. It says on the test that okay. So we test it again. Ah, come on. I should add this. Okay. There you go. So now it works. The next thing is I want to make sure that, let's say, this one was created here. So that means the new user is the same as this one. It so that means it should return error if we have, let's say, HTTP methods, HTTP code 400. So it's not a bad request. Oh well, it can be a bad request. Um, but um, I'm thinking of it as being a conflict, but it's using put, so it's not a good conf conflict as well. So it should be um, maybe we can just use. 400. So it should return HTTP error, an error HTTP code 400 if using the same username. So if we add this, we'll just copy this one, 400. So this is using the same new user here. So if we test it out, it fails because it is expecting a new user. So that means if someone use the same username, it can overwrite the old username. So before that happens, you can do this. If this exists, return reply dot bad request. Username exists. So if we do this, it passes. And if we test it out, where we execute this again, it will return a message, username exists. So given that we are already done with this part, I'm just going to check. Because we are already done with this part, just git add. We can do this here, where we let's clean up the database first. Just letting my old username, my first username to be there. Then we'll clean up the DB for now. We'll also remove the test here. Okay. So so this is more of chore cleaning up the DB. So we commit. We then chore add bcrypt and chance on dependencies. Commit. And then we just add everything. So just add everything. Feed add register user. Now after that, we just click sync changes. Okay. And then we are done here. So given that we are done, we compare, oh, not this one, but more of, I think, yeah, we ask a pull request, adds the ability to register, also adds the ability to check if user exists. Then you create a pull request, we merge it, and we're done. Now, on to the next part. On to the next part for the next video.